Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the KCOM Stadium. The first game for Hull City here at the KCOM in this new division and new competition for Hull City to test themselves in the EFL Trophy, a competition Hull haven't been in since 2004-2005, and their first opponents are the side they took on in 2016-17 on the opening day at the KCOM Stadium. Only this time, it's a very youthful Leicester City team, and it's a very youthful Hull City team as well, as the team news will denote in just a few moments' time. This is the good opportunity for some of the players in Hull City's youth and have been tiptoeing around on the substitutes bench. It's their chance to impress in a competition this evening, which Hull City could certainly be victorious at the end of the season. Leicester City taking to the field now as well. And it's a very good evening to Brian Hughes as well, here at the KCOM Stadium. An empty KCOM Stadium again, obviously with lockdown. Well, this should be an interesting test. Two youthful sides could promote some really fast, athletic football.
Yeah, I think so as well. You know, it's good to see so many of our academy players getting opportunities. This is a fantastic opportunity for Grant McCann to breed them through, you know, in this competition. So, you know, he's gone with it tonight. You know, the starting 11 is full of academy products, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they can perform.
Well, the team news tonight for both sides will start with Hull City, and Grant McCann has made plenty of changes from the side which played against Sunderland in the League Cup. Leicester's youth, the way to counteract them is to play the best youth prospects Hull City have got on offer. So Harvey Cartwright, Jacob Greaves, Festus Arthur, Callum Jones, they all come in. New signing Alfie Jones makes his Hull City debut tonight. Dan Batty captains the team, and he's joined by the rest of the bench from the Sunderland match as well in this starting 11. From the bench, there's lots of youth. There isn't a recognised first-team player. Look out for Billy Chadwick. He will be the most attacking threat of the substitutes this evening. The lineup in full for our audio listeners this evening: 4-3-3 again for Hull City. It's Harvey Cartwright in goal, Festus Arthur on the right-hand side, Jacob Greaves and Alfie Jones in the middle. Sean McLaughlin plays at left-back this evening. Dan Batty and Callum Jones, along with Max Sheaf just in front of him in a three-man midfield. Keane Lewis Potter right wing, James Berry on the left, and Martin Samuelson will take the lead up front this evening with no Tom Eaves in the picture, and Josh McGuinness still away on international duty. The bench is David Robinson, Matthew Jacob, Jordan Hickey, Billy Chadwick, Ryan Hansen, Andy Smith and Harry Wood. Well, Leicester City's, their recent academy products include Jeff Schlupp, Andy King and Max Gradle from a couple of years ago, but they've produced some serious talent over the years, such as Peter Shilton, Gary Lineker, and their side tonight has got a collection of players in it which have had some Football League experience, and well, a couple that Brian Hughes has been after in the past. Their team in full this evening is Jacob Stolarczyk in goal. Their back four is Flynn, Hughes, O'Connor and Clark, with Ndukwu Hume right into the middle three, and then Shade, Regbar working at the wings, and George Hurst is the striker in the middle. Leicester City get us underway. They're playing in their blue strip this evening, playing from our left to right on a sun-kissed KCOM pitch this evening. And just talking about some of those players that you've had a managerial time. Of course, Sam Hughes is one that you highlighted before the game. Who else is going to be a big problem for Hull City this evening? Yeah,
you know, they've got a wide guy called Ali Regbar as well, who's someone who I inquired about when I was manager of Wrexham. You know, Sam Hughes who's the captain tonight for them. He's a player that I would have took at Wrexham as well, you know, very good centre-back.
Leicester into the box for their first opportunity to attack. A little ball cut back towards the penalty area. A little touch comes in. That was from Shade, playing from right wing, moving into the middle. And Leicester have it on this right-hand side now. Ball with Ndukwu pushed right forward. Plenty in the box for Hull City. 8 Hull City players defending in and around the penalty area. They can't get it clear. First shot comes in, and Harvey Cartwright called upon with a save to his right-hand side. Big fizzing shot from Callum Hume. And referee this evening, Ross Joints, points for a corner kick. But Harvey Cartwright, first opportunity to don the green of Hull City this evening with his gloves, and he makes a good, strong save to start with.
Certainly was a good save, you know, and that'll do his confidence the world of good. It was a great strike, wasn't it, from Callum Hume in the midfield there for Leicester City. You know, really pressing from the off here. Leicester City really attacking us, which we expect. You know, they've got full of energy, full of youth, of confidence. But that'll do Harvey Cartwright's confidence the world of good. Great save.
So corner kicks come from the southeast corner for Leicester City, all in a huddle around the penalty spot. In it swings, plenty of curve, and a free header around the penalty area for Dana O'Connor. Couldn't really get a full connection. Keane Lewis Potter plays it to Greaves, who now whacks it clear down the left-hand side. That was for Berry to chase. Simple header out of play by Leicester. Means Hull City get a throw in inside their own half. So Leicester City starting like Sunderland did on Saturday. Fast, energetic, getting an opportunity away within the first minute. This time, though, it was from the edge of the penalty area. And Hull City throw the ball back in now. Ball goes back towards Jacob Greaves. First chance for him tonight after successing with Cheltenham Town last year. After Festa Safra, who's playing right back. Two centre-halves playing in full-back positions this evening. No Emmanuel. Louis Coyle still out suspended. He may have got a chance to play this evening. He would have been one of the most experienced players. As the ball runs through all the way towards Cartwright. Dishes the ball out towards Alfie Jones. First touch for him. Just a couple of strides out from the defence and now plays the long ball down the centre looking for Keane Lewis Potter. Samuelson just behind him. Gets the ball now on this left-hand side after shuffling across. Getting the ball off Callum Jones. Leicester rekindle possession down by the northwest corner flag. And Kudu is the one to try and switch the ball across towards the left-hand side. Misplaced, going in search of Shane Flynn. Hull City get a throw-in just over to the right-hand side of the penalty area. And Hull City will want to capitalise on mistakes like that from Leicester in their back lines.
Yeah, they will. You know, they're looking to press them early doors, you know, make mistakes with this youthful team of Leicester City. It's good to see Keane Lewis Potter there, you know, making runs beyond. You know, we talked about the first team last season. You know, we had players that come towards the ball quite frequently. And he's a player that will make runs behind.
Samuelson slips as Cartwright looks to get it out. Lovely little through ball for Keane Lewis Potter, who's just overstepped the mark. It was a lovely through ball in the centre of the pitch, played from the midfield, and the flag just going up over on the far side. Really good passage of play. You don't see Hull City play many through balls like that. It was refreshing to see. Almost paid off if he'd timed his run. Yeah,
and it's just what I've just been talking about. You know, he's the type of forward who will make them runs beyond, you know, and stretches the game. He just went a little bit too soon that time, but, you know, he's playing on the shoulder. I'm sure he'll get in on opportunities tonight.
Well, Dan Batty's the man close by with Callum Wright over on the left-hand side for Leicester. Ball now with Hull City. Cartwright boots it away with the right foot, headed successfully by Leicester City over on the left-hand side of their defence. Now with McLaughlin, gets the ball down, cushions it, plays it back towards Greaves. And then a first-time pass from Jones out towards Batty, who's drifted over to the left-hand side by the touchline. Now Greaves gets his head up, looks to play the ball down the line. It's nice for Keane Lewis Potter. And twice in 2 minutes, he's been caught offside. Little shove in the back by Dara O'Connor, who just wants Hull City to get on with things as Leicester get the free kick. They'll want to play fast-paced, quick tempo. It's what the under-21s academies are like now. All this fast, intricate play.
Yeah, they'll want to get the ball moving as quickly as possible. But again, very good there from Keane Lewis Potter. Always looking on the shoulder, looking to try and go in behind. I think he's got the measure of this defence. If he just gets his timing of his runs right, he'll sure get chances.
Alfie Jones with a little bit of a miscued header, gathered by Sheaf and then cleared away by Hull City. Goes halfway into Leicester City's half, throwing in front of the East Stand, the empty East Stand, of course. Hopefully, you guys will be able to be back in the stadium soon watching Hull City this season. Long ball cleared away by Leicester's goalkeeper, but it's well won by McLaughlin. Greaves has seen a lot of the ball so far, just a simple side foot pass to find Cartwright, who comes to the edge of his area, now whacks it diagonally across towards Festasarth, who's pushed up ever so slightly. And he's really got to show his merits this evening. Josh Emmanuel really showed how well he can play it right back on Saturday, and Festasarth given the opportunity this evening. Headed down into the middle, but cleared away. A simple hook away by Sam Hughes. A little bit scrappy in the midfield, gathered by Dan Batty. There is a man down for Hull City. It's Sean McLaughlin on the halfway line. And Ross Joyce, tonight's referee, brings a stop to proceedings. Physio comes on for the first time. We are about 6 minutes into this one at the KCOM, still 0-0. One good chance for Leicester's under-21 so far. But the ball is being zipped about as we expected.
Yeah, and it's a typical sort of under-23 tempo to it, isn't it? You know, both teams are looking to play at a slow pace, looking to try and build through the thirds. You know, it's been, like I said before, it's pleasing to see Keane Lewis Potter trying to stretch the game, because in a lot of these games, they all come towards the ball, they all want to get plenty of touches, and it can take the tempo and the sting out of the game. But, you know, from our point of view, you know, it's good to see us trying to stretch the game, and we're not frightened. You know, Jacob Greaves has hit a few little balls down the side, looking to play Keane Lewis Potter in behind them.
Hull City just getting refreshments. Cliffburn on the side of the touchline. Leicester City's players just happy to stand and wait for things to get back underway. Blackburn is managing the proceedings, it would seem, from the touchline this evening. And it will be a drop ball for Hull City, which Dan Batty now stands over with the captain's armband on for the first time.
It's a big moment, that, isn't it, for Dan Batty, even though it's in this competition. I'm sure he'll be very proud to wear the armbands of Hull City.
The reputation of the trophy may not be very high, but it'll be a match that Dan Batty will probably hold in regard for a while. Quite similar circumstances tonight to Hull City playing in the League Cup a couple of seasons ago when they went back to the Championship under Leonid Slutsky, when he put all the under-23s out. Ball goes back towards Cartwright. He has to hit it first time. It was good pressure from Leicester striker George Hurst, probably the most experienced man in Leicester City's 11 when it comes to professional football. Played for Sheffield Wednesday. He's got six appearances and 3 goals in this competition, and he actually got some first-team football last year against Tottenham and Manchester United. So he's played against some of the big boys.
Yeah, he's the son of David Hurst, isn't he?
He is indeed.
So, you know, David was a real good striker. Looks like his son George is following in their footsteps.
It could be somebody we see in the Football League sooner rather than later. Whether or not he actually gets that chance to play for Leicester, who knows? Hull City have made a real meal of a free kick they had over on the right-hand side as Festus Arthur wanted to play it back towards Alfie Jones. Hull City just caught a little bit cold, and Harvey Cartwright stayed rooted in his 6-yard box, so that's a very cheap corner to give away.
Yeah, showing his inexperience a bit there. Festus Arthur, you know, even though he was at Stockport last year, he's played a couple of blind balls there in a consecutive minute, put us in trouble.
Same scenario then for Leicester, 4 huddling on the penalty area as the ball is swung in, left-footed over from the south-east corner. It's hacked away by Hull City. In comes Keane Lewis-Potter. Ball tried to be returned by Leicester, and now they can counter Hull City. The 3-man line. Keane Lewis-Potter from the right-hand side. He's gone for the big switch. He didn't really wrap his foot around it enough, and it's caught by Stolarczyk, the Polish goalkeeper for Leicester City this evening. His first time he's played in this competition, promoted up from the under-18s due to his age. He's 19 now, and one of the lesser experienced players in this sort of setup, as the ball is played down towards Hull City's penalty area, which Alfie Jones will stick a toe out and clear over to the right-hand side for a throw-in. Leicester City now inside Hull City's half of the field, just approaching the 10-minute point, and certainly Leicester City seem to be able in these early stages to get the ball into the final thirds a little bit better, with a little bit more fluidity. And it will be Mitch Clark, the man with the ball in his hands, throws it in behind Callum Jones. And Ndukwu is the man who tries to bring it into the penalty area. Well played by Jacob Greaves to rekindle possession. Just a simple clearance away will allow Hull City to reset. Same formation as the first teamers, 4-3-3 this evening, no change. Leicester lining up with a 4-2-3-1 as a free kick's given in a nothing area of the pitch for Leicester, right smack bang in the middle of their half. But just going back to that point I just made there, Brian, you can see there as Hull tried to get it into the attacking passages, it just broke down, whereas Leicester seemed to be able to make things happen a little bit easier. Yeah,
they do look a bit sharper in that final third at present, you know. Likes of Hurst and Regber on the left-hand side there, looking to try and create stuff. Just from our point of view, you know, we're getting it into these areas. The only threat we've had really is Keane Lewis-Potter trying to stretch the game. You know, we want to try and see a bit more of Samuelson. You know, can he get more involved? You know, he's a figurehead. He's probably the most experienced one we've got up there in that front three. So there's big things on his shoulders tonight to try and keep hold of this ball for us.
Cartwright dished the ball out to McLaughlin on the left-hand side, moved into the middle. Now for James Berry, who's going to try and have a run at O'Connor, playing on left wing this evening. Just one appearance, James Berry. Brought on as a substitute against Blackburn Rovers in the league last year. Hull lost 3-0 at Ewood Park that night. Ball played up into the air as Jacob Greaves tries to get things done over on the left-hand side of the back four for Hull City. And Ndukwu is the man who's caught the ball in his face. A little bit painful, maybe on the bridge of his nose, but he's recovered now and his focus turns to the game. Chest control from Samuelson, just strays out of play for a throw-in. Big game for Samuelson tonight because he didn't get as much game time as he probably would have wanted to last year. This is an opportunity for him to benchmark what he can do.
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's a talented player, Samuelson. You know, he's good on the ball. I don't think we've seen the best of him in a Hull City shirt as yet. You know, it was difficult last season for him. You know, he's more of a technically gifted type of player. You know, we were in a relegation dogfight last season, so it didn't really suit his attributes. But, you know, like you say, this is a big game for him. Very different type of game, different tempo, where you'd want to see him get on the ball and dictate. And then hopefully he can stamp his authority in this first team squad going forward for the rest of the campaign.
It's quite a similar scenario for him as well from quite a few seasons ago. He was in West Ham colours when he came here for the Under-21 Premier League Cup final, which Hull City played in. And the only man other than him who actually featured in that match was Dan Batty. And that was his first opportunity to lace boots and kick a ball on the K-Com pitch a few seasons ago as well. And Dan Batty is now trying to find his way as becoming a regular in Hull City's first team. A little bit in and out of the squad last year. And he gets some more game time this year. Hull City have it in their defence. Alfie Jones across the face of the defence into Dan Batty, who drops in between the two centre-halves. Head up and looks to try and play it right-footed over to the right-hand side of the penalty area for Keane Lewis Potter to chase. A little bit overhit. Runs through into the path of the Leicester City goalkeeper. Played a dozen minutes here at the K-Com Stadium. Hull City still haven't registered a shot so far. Leicester City have only had that one real chance. They've had a couple of corners so far, but nothing else pieced together, as Leicester's goalkeeper sizes up his options before hitting it right-footed up into the air. Diagonal ball bounces down just to the left of the centre circle. Now for Hurst on the left side of the penalty area. Could be forced to his left-hand side. Good shielding by Jacob Greaves and wins the ball back too. Cleared away. Keane Lewis Potter tries to get a clever touch in, and now he manages to flick it away from two Leicester City players. Good through ball as well. If Berry can get onto this, putting the pressure on Mitch Clark in the Leicester City defence. Forced clearance away by Leicester. It's a little bit forced again from Hull City, but they're now trying to get the ball into the right area. James Berry moving across onto his left-hand side, puts in a good slide tackle, keeps the pressure on, throwing for Leicester in their own half of the area. That was better, even though it was a little bit route one.
Yeah, it was brilliant play from Keane Lewis Potter. You know, he was so deep, wasn't he, in his own half as well, where you want to see him higher up the pitch, but he's come deep. He's kept hold of the ball, more importantly, and a lovely through ball. Good run from James Berry. Nearly got him in.
Dan Batty can't win the ball off in Duckwu, and he plays it over to his left-hand side. Chance here for Reg Bar to try and motor forward. It will be cleared away first time by Jacob Greaves up the middle for Keane Lewis Potter to chase. Didn't have the height advantage, being one of the smallest players, if not the smallest, on the pitch tonight. Clark, little ball back into his defence to calm things down. Dara O'Connor hits a diagonal left ball over towards Reg Bar again. Tries to head it back to his teammate Shane Flynn, who hasn't seen much of the ball, and he's made an error as Hull City pick it up with Sheaf. Into Samuelson in the middle. Hull City move into Leicester's half. About 30 yards from goal, right side of the penalty area. And Leicester City win the ball back. Flynn makes up for his error over on that far side. Keane Lewis Potter puts the pressure on. Flynn able to clear it away with a low clearance down the touchline. Gathered well by Alfie Jones. Leicester have a look at the referee to see if they can get a free kick. Nothing coming from Mr. Joyce. Jacob Greaves with a little bit of calm and composure. Leicester City have got their formation all set up at the moment. Every player in their respected positions as they watch and shuffle to see where Hull City play this ball. It moves into the middle, looking for Samuelson, who pulls at the shirt of Callum Hume, the man who hit the shot from range. Referee offered an advantage. He's going to pull it back as Hume was heading over towards this right-hand side. Good little bit of aggression from Samuelson. And just last couple of minutes, Hull City have showed a little bit of authority after Leicester's positive start.
Yeah, they have. They've had a few counters, haven't we? You know, just Samuelson there getting the ball in midfield. I felt he had to do better. It was good play from the Leicester player, Callum Hume there, nice and strong. But like I said before, Samuelson, great opportunity for him to really stamp his authority on this game.
Well, Max Sheaf managing to win the ball back, just inside Hull City's half, right side. Off towards the east stand. Keane Lewis Potter will contest with Sam Hughes. A forced clearance again by Leicester. A little bit scrappy. It's sliced over towards the left-hand side of the pitch, towards us here on this west stand at the K-Com Stadium. And McLaughlin will watch that one go out of play. Hull City get a throw in. And with 16 minutes gone, Hull City still haven't registered a shot on goal so far, but at least they're now heading in the right direction. McLaughlin with the ball in his hands, just in front of the Leicester City technical area. Ball played into the path of Berry. He plays it back towards Greaves, who goes for the big switch across, looking for Keane Lewis Potter. Well handled by Leicester City. Alfie Jones will collect this just in front of the D of his own penalty area and plays the ball right-footed into the path of Sheaf. Sends it over to Festus Arthur. Hull City want a little bit of possession now and just a little bit of time on the ball. Arthur gives it back towards Jones, who now plays it to Cartwright, who's stuck in his own penalty area, forces a clearance down the middle. Simple header for Hughes, who heads it back in the direction it's just come from. Sheaf, clever pass towards Arthur, tries to chip it down the line looking for Keane Lewis Potter. He was unsuccessful and Leicester pick it up just inside Hull's half. Switch across now, searching for Mitch Clark, who's got space to run into down the right-hand channel. He plays it into the middle now. This is Shade, who tries to get away from McLaughlin, tries to force the cross in, and behind it goes by Jacob Greaves. It will be a corner kick. Leicester creating a chance really out of nothing. And it was two simple passes which ignited the move. Yeah,
and it come from Callum Hume, didn't it? Again in that midfield, it's dictating play for them. Getting out here to the fullback, Mitch Clark bombing on, and then he gets it into Terry Shade. Very positive once he got in the area. Terry Shade went at McLaughlin, went past him. Good defending by Jacob Greaves to get over and clear his lines.
Leicester City's corner then from the southwest corner, and it comes. It didn't carry a lot of height. It reached the first man. It will be another corner opportunity from the same side. Leicester just had a little look at the referee there. Man went down just around the 6-yard box. Closest man was Callum Wright, number 42. He's trying to get away from Max Sheaf as the cross comes in. Carries with a little bit more lift now towards the 6-yard box. Headed away by Hull City. They've certainly been strong defensively so far. Doesn't really appear to be any cobwebs that they need to shake off. They've looked quite robust, and you can tell that these guys have been training with each other before this game. They seem well organised at the moment, despite the young age.
Well, that back four's got plenty of height, hasn't it? You know, you look across it with Festus Arthur, you know, Jacob Greaves, Alfie Jones and McLaughlin there. You know, we've got plenty of height there. We should be nice and strong on set pieces and deal with anything Leicester throw at us.
Well, Leicester try and hit it over towards the right-hand side, searching for Tyrese Shade, but the ball was just a little bit overhit, so it'll be a goal kick for Hull City. Cartwright goes to collect the ball, and Hull City setting up as though they want to take it short. Alfie Jones just waiting towards his right-hand side, and instead it's Greaves who waits on the left side of the 6-yard box, and he's the one who hacks it away up towards James Berry. Now gathered by Dan Batty. Space to run into as Leicester's midfield breaks down. Keane Lewis Potter left-hand side. Into the penalty area he goes now. A little step over, gets the shot in, blocked by Leicester City, who got back well, and it's cleared away by Leicester. Up now with Arthur on the halfway line. Hull City could still piece something together. Leicester looking like they're getting their formation set nice and quickly. Good touch by Max Sheaf on the right-hand side. Now with Samuelson looking to move back into the middle. Gives the ball into the path of Callum Jones. He gives it to his surname's teammate Alfie, who receives the ball back again off Jacob Greaves as everything's on the floor for Hull City at the moment. They then try and force the ball through the middle, looking for Keane Lewis Potter. He could have maybe taken a little bit more time, Alfie Jones. It runs through towards the goalkeeper.
Yeah, you can see we're trying to build up, aren't we? You know, Alfie Jones there, Callum Jones linking it up in that midfield. Just a bit too straight, wasn't it, that ball from Alfie Jones into Keane Lewis Potter. I think Sam Hughes would have been happy if that would have gone into Lewis Potter's feet because he was right tight to him.
Batty just doesn't have the height to win the header as the ball's over on this left-hand side. Samuelson, he manages to clear the ball forward, and then in comes the Leicester City man, Mitch Clark, who hits him quite forcefully just on the halfway line. Free kick given Hull City's way. Samuelson back on his feet, and Clark plods away to his right-back position. Tyrese Shade wanting to try and put off Callum Jones as much as possible. It's certainly set up in a way where Hull City and Leicester both want to get on with things quickly. Hull City very nearly shooting themselves in the foot as the ball was played back towards Cartwright, and he has to hook the ball out of play for a throw-in. That's the second time that's happened this evening.
I think sometimes, you know, in these under-23 games, you know, you can get caught into that mindset of playing reverse ball, blindside balls. You know, like you say, Festus Arthur done it the first time. Dan Batty's just been guilty of it then. It can cause problems.
And Duku looking to try and get it in. Dan Batty picks it up and he's happy to have the ball at feet inside his own penalty area. He forces a clearance away. It goes towards Shane Flynn, looks to bring it to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Now with Callum Wright, who's forced backwards. Over now on Leicester City's left-hand side, and the tackle comes in from Sheaf. Leicester City get the throw-in to the annoyance of Sheaf over on that right-hand side of Hull City's system. His first opportunity to play on the K-Com pitch since Nigel Adkins gave him the chance against Sheffield United. He was out on loan with Jacob Greaves last year at Cheltenham, of course. Festus Arthur spins away from one man. In came in Duque, puts a good block in, and Hull City will get the throw-in, but it's deep inside their own half. Approaching the halfway point of the first half here at the K-Com. It's Hull City 0, Leicester's under-21s 0 in this EFL Trophy match. And not too many chances to note. A little bit of rustiness from both teams as they try and piece things together, trying to get forward. Keane Lewis Potter, a little touch from him. Ball finds Callum Jones in the centre. Now with Samuelson, who easily steps away from one man, now moves it into the middle. That's clever play from Hull City. Keane Lewis Potter did that earlier on. And now Samuelson wants to join in the fun. Work it over to the left-hand side with Greaves. McLaughlin in space on this left-hand side. They try and find Berry. First touch wasn't great. And Leicester City with Tyrese Shade rekindled the ball. And he's the one to try and play the ball through towards Hurst. It was a clever arced ball, but Leicester City with Hurst, the only man up front. He had two men in black and amber around him. It would have taken pinpoint accuracy for him to reach it. And then Cartwright clears the ball out to his left-hand side. But it goes out for a throw-in again. So the goalkeeper at the moment, without wishing to pick on him too much, his distribution could do with some work.
Yeah, it certainly could, you know. It's a trend, isn't it, in these sort of games, you know, playing out from the back. If you can't get it to your centre-backs, can you drop it into one of your full-backs, which he's tried on a few occasions now.
Well, a push from Leicester City's number 45, George Hurst, on this right-hand side, right in front of the linesman, but he didn't stick his flag up. Hull City have the ball back, which Sheaf plays the ball down the line up towards halfway. On the right-hand side, Callum Jones shuffling across, and he's trying to put Leicester City's man, number 48, Callum Hume, under a fair bit of pressure, and pressure he does. Throwing given Hull City's way. Linesman over on the far side needs to pick up his flag. He's just dropped it, giving the decision. And Hull City do have a throw-in just inside Leicester City's half. A couple of players just tying the laces as we await the restart. Of course, there's no drinks breaks now following the restart of the season. There was, of course, one on Saturday, just due to the fact Tommy has picked up an injury and had to be subbed off. Dan Batty just plays it first time towards Cartwright, who's come towards his penalty spot, excuse me. But plays the ball out down the middle for Samuelson, who's facing his own goal, so he returns the ball back to Cartwright, who's in the shade over in the front of the south stand as the sun is shining on the east stand here at the K-Com Stadium. A lovely summer's evening. Ball played towards Flynn over on the right-hand side for Leicester, and he now goes on a foray forwards, looks to try and playing Reg Bart. Festus Arthur goes with him every step of the way, puts in a good, strong sliding tackle, and it will actually be a goal kick Hull City's way as well. Yeah, perfect from a full-back's perspective. Yeah,
it was good defending, wasn't it, from Festus Arthur? You know, his distribution at times has been a bit questionable so far, but, you know, defensively he's well-built, isn't he? He's strong, powerful, quick off the mark there as well, so good defending.
Samuelson playing more midfield role time after time as he drops in, gives the ball to Dan Batty. Well-timed sliding tackle from Clark, matched by Jacob Greaves. Leicester pick up the ball 30 yards away from goal. Clever touch by Callum Wright, and he was tripped on the edge of the area, right side of the box, and for me, I thought the referee was going to blow his whistle, but nothing coming, and he has a look at the referee as if to say, where was the whistle?
Yeah, he done well, didn't he? It was good play from Leicester, good build-up play on this right-hand side. Callum Wright just breaking through from midfield. Jacob Greaves coming across. I think he just puts it through his legs. But falls over. Referee doesn't give anything.
He's happy to let the game flow. Ross Joyce. And we'll see him a few times, I would imagine, in this League One campaign. As Hull City really struggling in that little phase of play. They gave the ball away on the right-hand side of the penalty area, and that invited Callum Wright to have a shot at goal. And you can't give Leicester City those sort of chances, because even though they're under 21s, they're in the Leicester City Academy for a reason. They may take one of those chances.
Yeah, they certainly will, you know, and that time it was Martin Samuelson, you know, very lethargic flick with his instep, just in the wrong area of the pitch. You know, in that final third of ours, he can't. That's something that he's going to learn. You know, as he gets older, as he gets more experienced, he can't do them sort of things, because against first team players in whatever league you're in League One this year, you'll get punished, and it might be an harsh lesson.
Tyrese Shade gets bumped into by Berry, and that will be a free kick for Leicester inside their own half. Mitch Clark just waiting for the ball to come back to him. Hull City's youthful prospects having their first warm-up of the evening. Leicester have only got 6 players this evening on the bench, and most of them have come from their under-18 squad. I was asking the Leicester City media team beforehand the identity of these players position-wise, and even they don't know, so they're very unknown. As Leicester try and get a shot in through Callum Wright. Simple block from Sheaf. He's forced over to the left-hand side, spins on the ball. Ball stays where it is. A curving ball into the box, searching for George Hurst. He had 2 towering centre-halves in Greaves and Jones around him. And you have to give kudos when Leicester have the ball to Hull City centre-halves, because they do look organised, and I think they're the shining stars at the moment in this Hull City team. Yeah,
they do, and they've all... That's what I mean. They look at the back 4 of Hull City this evening, even though they've got a lot of youth playing in the team, you know. The back 4 are the ones who've got a bit of first team experience. You know, they've all played at some sort of level. And like I said, we've got good height and physicality back there to deal with what Leicester can throw at us this evening.
Ball with Greaves, who now plays it right-sided towards Dan Batty, who looks up, hits it long towards left-hand side of the penalty area. It bounces in there and will be gathered simply by the Leicester City goalkeeper as James Berry went chasing, and that's really all he's been able to do this evening so far on this left-hand side. Hull City's Achilles heel at the moment is when the ball gets into the final third. They really can't do much with it. Leicester City have had a few chances from the edge of the area, but there hasn't really been anything clear-cut so far, hence why after 28 minutes it's still Hull 0, Leicester 0. Ball played forward again, looking for Keane Lewis-Potter. This will be recycled by Callum Hume, touched by the goalkeeper to his right-hand side and swings his right foot at it. Sends it into Hull City's half, headed away by McLaughlin, who's looked organised for the majority of this game so far. Ball playing over to the right-hand side. Sheaf goes to press Shane Flynn. In comes Festus Arthur with a good little challenge. Ball spirals up into the air. Plenty of spin on the ball as it bounces down on the left-hand side. Just inside Leicester's half, they get a quick throw-in, which they take, and it's back in Leicester's defence. And they try and force the ball forwards down the left-hand side. That's kind of what Hull City did at times in the League Cup on Saturday, and it was a little bit wasteful from Leicester because almost like a rush of blood really, wanted to get the ball up nice and fast when they had plenty of time to piece something together through the passages.
Yeah, you get that, you know, with the inexperienced players, you know, they want to try and get it forward as quickly as possible. We have seen a lot of transitions here this evening in the 29-30 minutes that we've played so far. You know, it's changed hands quite numerous times. You know, hopefully it'll settle down.
Dan Batty looks to try and pick out James Berry, and the time it nearly came off for him, a bit like Keane Lewis-Potter earlier on, he just overstepped the mark. So it will be a free kick for Leicester, which they take quickly. Clark sticks it through the legs of Callum Jones, and he makes up for it by getting the ball back, but there was a foul earlier on, so Ross Joyce is going to give the free kick. But Leicester, as expected, simply put the ball down and play. Clark into the path of Callum Hume, who now finds Ndukwu, gives it back towards Dara O'Connor, who partners Sam Hughes, who's the most experienced man in Leicester's team tonight, at the age of 23. Very similar average ages this evening for both sides. Hull's average age is just 20 years old going into this one. Mitch Clark with a bit of space to run into on this right-hand side. A steady jog from him, assessing his options. Gives it towards Tyrese Shade, who doesn't really do much with the ball. Ball goes behind him. McLaughlin kept it in play as it hit the white paint of the touchline, and he couldn't do much more than try and find Berry. Leicester get the throw-in right in front of the technical areas. And this is where the game just slows down as the players are just getting energy and a bit of air into the lungs at the half-hour point. 15 minutes to go. And a bit like the League Cup, if this one is a level pegging at full time, it will go to a penalty shootout. Different point system though. Won't get 3 points if you are victorious. Dan Batty takes the touch with his left foot, swivels and tries to play it forwards up towards James Berry. Keane Lewis-Potter jumps with Sam Hughes. There was only one winner, unfortunately, but Keane Lewis-Potter could win the foot race between he and Hughes. He has done just that. Keane Lewis-Potter keeps it in at the byline, puts it through the legs of Sam Hughes. He works it towards the penalty area. There was just one man in blue too many for Keane Lewis-Potter, and they hoover up and clear it away. Route 1 style, from one end of the pitch to the other. Leicester trying to get into the penalty area, left side, and well played by Callum Jones, who managed to get the interception in. The clearance wasn't great. Samuelson coming back to help out the defence, and he gathers the ball right on the touchline over in front of the East Stand, heading backwards towards his own corner flag. Comes off Flynn. A second deflection then back off Samuelson's thigh means Leicester get a throw in and an opportunity, if they've got a long throw in them, to get it into the box. And of Route 1 style, and it's certainly giving all these players plenty to think about.
Yeah, it's, both teams haven't been afraid to play balls beyond the back fours, looking to stretch the game at times.
Throwing into the penalty area, and it was met by Ali Regbar, who tries to powerfully get the ball into the middle, but Harvey Cartwright, simple catch from him. A broken W, as they call it, with the gloves. A simple catch just in front of him. James Berry now in Leicester City's half. Heads over the halfway line as he heads in the wrong direction. Leicester pick it up in a very tight area. Ball played back by Ndukwu, which is then played out by Callum Jones.
He started well, Callum Jones. His opening 30 minutes, he's covered a lot of ground in that midfield. Really getting around, really stood out for me, he's not giving many balls away as well.
Signed, of course, from Bury just before their expulsion from the Football League. Now getting the opportunity to play in the black and amber shirt for the first time. Has been involved, named on the bench a few times, but hasn't been ever able to get into that team selection from the get-go. Hull City have got a man down here as a free kick is given. Right side of the centre circle. Dambati was the man who was challenged. Little roll on the floor from him. And the first booking of the evening is going to be given by Ross Joyce, the referee. And it is for Regbar for going in a little bit high on Dambati, I think it was. And he won't be afraid to give the bookings out tonight, Ross Clark, because I had a look beforehand. He had 27 games last year, 118 bookings, which is quite high for a referee. Yeah, it certainly is. I think that was right as well. Regbar just caught Dambati there. Two of them fully committed in for the tackle. But it was just a follow through that caught Batty. I think it was quite high as well. Looked like it was close to his knee, but he seems to be okay. So free kick for Hull City, which Alfie Jones stands over. Trying to invite Samuelson to come forward. Little short one to his right-hand side, finds Festus Arthur, and in the end they just have to give it back to Cartwright. So a little bit of a waste. Cartwright sends it careering forwards over halfway. A free header for Dara O'Connor right in the centre of the park. And now Leicester have it in the middle, searching to find some room in the final third. Callum Jones gets it away temporarily. Mitch Clark, simple one-touch pass from Regbar into Ndukwu. Now gives it into the path of Callum Hume, who's waiting in the middle. Samuelson close by. He forces the ball forward as well. It will trickle through towards Harvey Cartwright. Tactically, this is an interesting game because both sides seem to be sussing each other out when it comes to the attacking transitions, but from another side, if you are a spectator, it might come across as a little bit boring because there's not many shots in this game. That's why it's still 0-0. Samuelson had the option to give it towards Sheath, but spun back towards his own defence. Ball over with Festus Arthur, who's moved a little bit inside, playing right back this evening. Turns, gives it back towards Harvey Cartwright. Little touch on the right foot. Poor clearance from him. Invites Leicester City to have a chance. And in the end, he did enough to make the save. George Hurst is not going to get a better invitation all evening. And from the left side of the penalty area, he took the shot side-footed, but Cartwright got down early enough to take the sting out of the ball. Yeah, obviously, he's accustomed to his mistake there, hasn't he? He's played the ball straight to Hurst. You fancy the striker, don't you, to just slide it under him, but it's a fantastic recovery save from Harvey Cartwright. He got put into that situation there from Festus Arthur. Look, he should be playing forward there, Festus Arthur. Instead, he's decided to go back again to his keeper. And then Harvey Cartwright's mindset is to play short, looking for Alfie Jones, and it gets cut out. And it's the real first opportunity of this game where you think someone should score. He was on the bench for the first time at the weekend, Harvey Cartwright. And in regards to his academy football, confident on the ball, but a couple of errors this evening, but he made up for it with a good save. Best chance of the evening by far. Jacob Greaves. It's now his turn to get a blocked pass in. It's good pressing from Leicester. You've got to give them credit for that. As Alfie Jones now has the ball right side in his own penalty area. A little ball out towards Festus Arthur. Max Sheath is with the ball now, and he had a little bit of space. Goes searching up front for James Berry, who's moved over to the right-hand side. Gets away from two men in blue. Ball back towards Arthur. He now in turn gives it towards Alfie Jones, who just takes a touch and spins, looks and assesses his options. Leicester quite defensive at the moment. Ball over with McLaughlin, who pushed right forward into Leicester City's half. Hull City just having a spell of possession where they're passing it around the back lines. Callum Jones now sends it forward, looking for Sheaf. Sam Hughes did win the ball, and now Sheaf wins it back, puts the ball into the penalty area, slightly overhit from one side of the penalty area to the other. On the left-hand side with Keane Lewis-Potter. Little ball back towards McLaughlin. Turns and faces Callum Jones with plenty of space. 4 Leicester men in midfield. Surpassed them all. Here's McLaughlin. Chance to cross the ball into the box. Takes a deflection and a simple catch in the end for Leicester City's goalkeeper. However, it should really have been a better opportunity.
Yeah, he just had too much time to think about it, didn't he, McLaughlin? Once he took his first touch, the momentum just went straight away. You know, he's looking up, waiting for people to make movements. When you're in them situations, you know, he's not a natural fullback, but when you're in them situations, you've got to just put that right across the face of that 6-yard box. It was there for the taking. You know, we had people on the move, but once he took that first touch, it just took the momentum out of the attack.
Callum Wright's header in the centre. Touch of head tennis as it goes back towards Jacob Greaves. Then Mitch Clark, he gets his head to the ball. Touch and control by McLaughlin. Tries to play it into the middle for Batty. Sold him a little bit short. Leicester City pick it up and move it to the right-hand side with Callum Wright. Now Hull City's turn to get possession in the middle. Clever flick from Samuelson. Now for Batty. Better time pass and a better timed run for Keane Lewis-Potter. Tries to step inside from O'Connor. Now back with Batty. He's got a few players in black and amber around him. Here's Arthur. Simple first-time pass over to the right-hand side for Berry. He wanted to return it to Arthur. They got in a little bit of a muddle, so Berry still on the ball. Samuelson playing much more of a midfield role at the moment as Batty currently sits further up the pitch, back towards Alfie Jones. Now Greaves. Can Hull City get it forward while Leicester's midfield is sitting a little bit deeper? At the moment, they're in almost like a 5-4-1 shape at this moment in time. Here's McLaughlin. Plays the ball cleverly through the middle into Berry. First touch for him. Left side of the penalty area for Keane Lewis-Potter. Gets the shot away. Best chance for Hull City of the evening. And he couldn't find a corner. Well lured down by Leicester's goalkeeper. And Keane Lewis-Potter, just in the last few minutes, has tried to ignite Hull City into life.
Yeah, it was good build-up play as well, wasn't it? You know, keeping the ball. Samuelson on one side, dropping deep. Switching it over to his left-hand side. Getting into Keane Lewis-Potter. Good turn and very aggressive the way his approach, you know, driving at the defence of Leicester City and getting onto his favourite right foot. Just didn't get a shot away, probably the way he would have liked. But again, a shot on target, which was good.
Tyrese Shade steps away from one challenge and now tries to head back in the direction he's just come down in the right-hand side. McLaughlin pretty much on his corner flag. And it will be a corner kick for Leicester. McLaughlin let the ball go out of play. Linesman on this near side a signal it will be a corner. And Dan Batty, again, just looking down on the right side of the penalty area, is in some form of discomfort. And Ross Joyce is over with him now, just checking to make sure the skipper is okay. Cliff Burns sends out the youngsters again, just in case there might be a potential change this evening. In the first half, we've got 5 minutes of normal time to play. And a corner kick from the southeast corner for Leicester, which this time is taken short. Referee wants it retaken. He's not ready, as he, I think, was heading over to talk to the congregation on the penalty spot. And Leicester have got 6 men in the penalty area. Hull City have got pretty much everyone back. Batty and Keane Lewis-Potter wait on the 18-yard line in the D, just watching over the 2 defenders who are waiting there. Flynn on the left side of the D and Callum Hume on the right-hand side. Everyone else in the mixing pot. Corner to come in. And it's hit towards that back post, and an opportunity for Sam Hughes, the most experienced man, to get his head to the ball. Maybe he just lost sight of it right at the last minute, because it looked for a moment like it was a perfect cross and there was no header to complement it.
Yeah, he was just waiting for Sam Hughes to make contact there. I don't know if Alfie Jones just done enough on him there, you know, just to get his body in the way, just to block his run. But from this angle, it looked like it was just on his head for Sam Hughes. But no contact given. It looks like it's come off a Hull City player because it's gone out for another corner.
Yes, it will be a corner over on the southwest side. Southeast side, excuse me, this time. 4 minutes to go before the break or any stoppage time. Everyone lines up again, same positions as before. What will the delivery be like this time? It's sent over again into the 6-yard line. Got a little bit of a concert temporarily as Keane Lewis-Potter picks up the ball, and a deflection will take this out of play for a throw-in. And Cliff Byrne will now have the ball in his hand and wait for somebody. I think it'll be McLaughlin to take this throw-in. Music came at the right time as the ball was literally right on point for Leicester City to get a header onto it. Here's Callum Jones. He plays it back towards Jacob Greaves, who again clears away. He certainly looked well at home in the back four in a black and amber shirt. And this is first outing for Hull City. Festus Arthur down the line looking for Max Sheaf, who's just got to play himself back away from Flynn. Festus Arthur caught dawdling on the ball. Leicester invited to come into the penalty area left-hand side, and Alfie Jones bails out Arthur. Well-measured run and a good standing tackle. Samuelson now right-hand side, looks to try and find Sheaf, puts in a good slide tackle and has managed to get away from the Leicester man as well. Here come Hull City up the centre with Callum Jones. One man to his right-hand side in Berry. Edge of the penalty area, curling shot comes in and over it goes. Just a little look to the referee just to see if there was any fingertips from the goalkeeper. There wasn't to be. Goal kick, good confident shot from Hull City. Almost curtains though at the other end.
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, it was fantastic defending, wasn't it, from Alfie Jones? You know, very accomplished, knowing exactly where he wants the Leicester City attackers to go. Defends well. You know, Festus Arthur again giving it away. You know, that inexperience. But then on the flip side, a great counter attack there. And James Berry getting a shot away from, 20 yards on the angle, just dipping over the crossbar.
Goal kick taken then by Leicester from the right side of the 6-yard box. It's sent over to the right-hand side, deep into Hull's half, headed away and then brought back into Hull's half by Dara O'Connor, met by Festus Arthur. Here's Greaves on the right-hand side, gives it towards Alfie Jones, who now plays it towards Arthur. He will play this ball back towards Cartwright. Pressure being asserted by Leicester. Cartwright has to take a first-time clearance away. McLaughlin jumps for the ball on the left-hand side. Doesn't get the cleanest of connections, so Leicester will get the throw just inside Hull City's half in front of Cliff Byrne, who has a little word with Mitchell Clark over in front of the technical area. He puts the long throw in, searching for Ndukwu, who hasn't seen too much of the ball in the last few minutes. Have started well. Samuelson loses possession. Little chipped ball into the middle by Clark. Hull City managed to read it well. Headed by Callum Hume. And then Callum Jones tries to hit the ball forward. Wouldn't have had many options. It will be Hull City's throw-in. And that at least pegs Leicester City back a little bit. Allows Hull City to reset and maybe piece something together. Leicester pressing with a 3-man front line. Big ball, which is chested by Harvey Cartwright from Jacob Greaves. Had plenty of power and diagonally tries to look for Arthur. Doesn't time it, doesn't really get his positioning. Left side of the penalty area for Callum Wright. He's got one man to his left-hand side in Flynn, who will play it in. Low ball! And it just went whiskers wide of the far post. Must have been an intended cross. In the end, it was more of a shot. It was that dangerous. Leicester City almost taking advantage of a little bit of sloppiness again from the Tigers.
Oh, it's a fantastic ball, isn't it, from Shane Flynn? Right across that 6-yard box area. That's what we were talking about 5 or 10 minutes ago with McLaughlin for Hull City, you know, feeding it into that area where we can get people on the move. You know, Hurst is on the move, but it's just too much pace on the ball. But a great ball in from Flynn.
Sometimes Hull City have in their own Achilles heel defensively, and maybe a team of more experience would punish them. It's 2 minutes of injury time here at the KCOM Stadium, signalled by the fourth official, and Hull City will get a free kick inside Leicester's half of the pitch. It's on the left-hand side, about 10 or 15 yards into it, and a chance to maybe launch the ball into the penalty area. Callum Jones picks it up, puts it down, and he's got ideas on where he wants this ball to go. Jones and Greaves, the two centre-backs, are heading over towards the right-hand side of the D. The huddle begins over there. First dangerous set-piece for Hull City from a free kick. It is floated in towards the right side of the penalty area. Simple header from Leicester and then sent on its way by Callum Hume. Bounces on the halfway line. McLaughlin gets across. He goes in search of Festus Arthur, who was caught a little bit flat-footed. Good pressure from Ndukwu over on the left-hand side. And he's got a little bit more of first team action in the Football League. He was on loan at Southend United this year, read that one well. Festus Arthur, just as the half has reached its conclusion, has just become a little bit more complacent over on that right hand side. Got the ball in his hand as he sends it down towards Samuelson, who can't do anything more with a little flick on the left hand side. Callum Wright tries to play it through. Alfie Jones will neutralise the threat. Harvey Cartwright, big touch from him, and now he has to clear away again. Keane Lewis Potter tries to keep it in, cannons off his thigh, out of play it goes for a throw-in. There is a bit of rustiness and a few cracks just starting to show in Hull City's defence. And, well, they've only got 1 more minute to endure. Leicester City at the moment aren't creating too many chances. Ball in their hand, right-hand side with Mitch Clark. Takes a couple of steps forward, over the head of McLaughlin. A lot of pressure down by the corner flag. Here's Tyrese Shade, who's been kept quiet for the majority of the half. Callum Wright, right side of the penalty area, sends the ball into the middle. It could drop down, and Harvey Cartwright makes the save eventually as it scrambled out. And it was Redbar who had the opportunity inside the penalty area. Cross again from nothing, and Leicester City can't take advantage.
Yeah, it's a good ball, isn't it? And it's Redbar coming in from that left-hand side. Festus Arthur deals with it quite well, but he gets a second bite at it, does Redbar, and Harvey Cartwright makes the save.
Well, that's half-time then here at the KCOM Stadium. Both players from both teams trudging off, and Leicester City have had a good couple of opportunities. They've come from the edge of the area. They started off very quickly with Callum Hume having quite a fierce shot. George Hurst has had the best chance for Leicester, almost capitalising on a Harvey Cartwright mistake, dawdling inside the penalty area. At the other end, though, Keane Lewis Potter's had a couple of chances. He managed to work it onto his right foot to get a save out of Stolarczyk, the Polish goalkeeper for Leicester City, who's had some youthful international experience. But apart from that, not really anything else. And that's why at half-time, it's Hull City 0, Leicester's under-21s 0. Well, welcome back then to the KCOM Stadium. Second half is approaching us here as Hull City and Leicester just take to the field again. 0-0 the scoreline after what was a very fast-paced first half in terms of the ball zipping about all over the place. There wasn't too many chances to note, though. But the under-23s are definitely showing fast pace and athleticism, but a couple of cracks starting to show for both teams. But I suppose this game wears on. They've had that opportunity as well to get some words from the gaffer this evening, just to maybe settle themselves down a little bit.
Yeah, I think, at times, specifically through the first half, both teams have showed their inexperience, haven't they? Making a few individual errors. And like we said in commentary, the higher you go up the pyramid, if you're going up to the first team level and you're going to be playing in League One or Championship or Premier League for whatever level you're at, them sort of mistakes will get punished at that level. So these are the sort of opportunities where they can iron a few things out. They can look back on their own performances once this game's over and done with, and start rectifying the problems and the issues and the distances or wherever they might be looking for individually, to try and put into practice on the training ground and make sure it doesn't happen again going forward for them.
It looks as though there's no changes for either team going into this second half. Grant McCann is now on the technical area. He was sat back and let Cliff have the reins in the first half, and now Grant is out on the touchline for the second half. Hull City are going to kick us off, and Callum Jones and Samuelson stand over this one at kick-off for the second half. Jones gives it to Samuelson, and away we go then here at the KCOM Stadium for the second half. 0-0 the scoreline between these two, but surely there will be a goal at some stage. We can't have 2 0-0s in a row, surely, after the first one in Grant McCann's tenure, the first 0-0 at the weekend since Hull City took on Norwich back in the autumn of 2018. The first forward for Hull City goes straight into the hands of Leicester City's goalkeeper, who just dishes the ball towards the 18-yard line, and he will clear away. Header won by Jacob Greaves. James Berry, little ball back towards Dan Batty on this right-hand side. Samuelson attempts the flick, which he was successful with in the first half, and he wasn't so this time. And then a free kick for a challenge just down on the left-hand side by Leicester's captain, Sam Hughes.
Yeah, just a little flick there again. He started like that in the first half, Samuelson, wasn't he? Flicking and trying to be clever in certain aspects. But noticeable that he's a bit more advanced at the start of the second half. The end of the first half, he was coming a lot deeper to try and get involved in the game.
Ball just floating back towards Harvey Cartwright, and just as that free kick was taken, Hull City had a 4-1 shape off the ball. Samuelson tries to chest it, and it cannons off him like it was bouncing on a trampoline. Here's Redbar looking to spin away from Samuelson, who now gives a foul away. No goals, of course, in a black and amber shirt so far for Samuelson, but like Batty, he's one of the more experienced men, along with Keane Lewis Potter. There's not much minutes in the tank for any of the others, but the loan spells last season for Greaves and Sheaf make up for that. Hume stands over it, left-hand side of Hull City's half, and it's floated in towards the back of the 6-yard box. And Jacob Greaves, with one bounce, will get his sights on it and try and clear it away. Leicester get possession back, though, on the edge of the penalty area, right side. Little step over from Shade, who's been stood up at the moment by McLaughlin. Ball back with Callum Wright, who gives it back towards O'Connor. Working the ball into the middle now for Sam Hughes. Little touch with his right foot. Now tries and send it back where it's come from. In Shade, who now again is just met by McLaughlin, stands his ground. Little bit of twinkle toes as he now floats the ball in, looking for the head of Hurst. And it goes towards the left-hand post of Harvey Cartwright. Best chance for Leicester City at the start of this second half. And that's a warning sign. Yeah,
I was waiting for the ball to nestle in the back of the net there. You know, it was brilliant play, wasn't it, on that right-hand side from Terry Shade. You know, shaping McLaughlin up, going past him at ease, and just puts a lovely ball, just dinks it into that far post. And George Hurst is up quickly. He's up early, and he gets a good contact on the ball. And like I say, I thought it was in the back of the net from this angle, just past the post though.
Hull City, with their goal kick, took it right up towards Leicester's penalty area, but in the end it was cleared away. Now Hull City have the ball with Alfie Jones, who first time right-footed sends the ball into Leicester's half, headed well by Sam Hughes. Now Hume working it over towards the right-hand side. Ball floated through the air for Mitch Clark. Keane Lewis Potter scampering across to come and meet him, stop him from running down that east stand touchline. Ball back with Sam Hughes. Leicester trying to move the ball around a bit. Now with Flynn. Takes a touch with his left foot, then it goes behind him and he gives the ball away into the path of Samuelson, who now lays it into the path of James Berry. Flynn gets back, he goes down. James Berry, a little bit of a shirt pull, asks for a free kick. Grant McCann was also asking. Nothing coming from the referee. And that would have been a good opportunity if Hull City had got the decision.
Yeah, it was a good counter, good chance to counter, wasn't it? It was Berry driving at the defence of Leicester City. I think there was a little pull there from Flynn, the fullback. Referee didn't give anything, though.
Well, McLaughlin gives away a free kick for something maybe a little bit less over on the right-hand side, the far side from where we are here at the KCOM Stadium, up in the Upper West Stand, of course, for our audio commentary listeners. And a quick run through of the teams in a second once Leicester City have taken this set-piece opportunity for our audio listeners. Over on the right-hand side, if you are joining us now, 50 minutes gone, Hull City 0, Leicester under-21s 0. Free kick, right-hand side of the penalty area, out by the touchline. Hull City have got 7 players on the 18-yard line, stood perfectly in sync with one another as Leicester City swing in this free kick. It's got plenty of curve to it, and Leicester break the deadlock, and it's Callum Wright, the man who's come up with the goal. A knee slide towards the corner flag, delight for him, and Hull City concede from a set-piece. Leicester in front.
Yeah, they've looked threatening all evening on set-piece, haven't they? Put some good quality in there. This time it was Ndukwu on that right-hand side, left foot, just in-swinging ball. Just got in round the back, and it was Callum Wright. You know, he's been bright all evening. Callum Wright, he's full of energy. You know, but this time, he's got on the end of the cross and just guided it into the bottom corner. 1-0 to Leicester.
So not the start to the second half Hull City would have wanted. And now a test for the youthful Hull City team. Grant McCann stands at the moment with his arms folded, watching on. And of course he hasn't got a lot of firepower from the bench, which carries experience. He's gone for youth on the bench this evening. A run through of those teams then as Hull City are about to kick off again. For Leicester this evening, it is Jacob Starlacek in goal, with a back four of Flynn, Hughes, O'Connor and Clark, and Ndukwu, Hume and Wright, the goal scorer in the middle three, with Shade on the right wing, Hurst up front with Regbar, who got a yellow card in the first half and went close in the first half as well. Hull City lining up with Cartwright in goal, Festus Arthur on the right-hand side, McLaughlin on the left, Jacob Greaves and Alfie Jones are the 2 centre-halves this evening. Callum Jones in the middle with captain Dan Batty and Max Sheaf just in front of them. Keane Lewis Potter and James Berry switching wings throughout the night, with Samuelson up front. And a man down for Leicester City. The benches for both teams. For Leicester, it's Arlo Doherty, Terrell Pennant, Will Russ, Ben Nelson, Harvey, Godsmark Ford and Tawanda Mashanshi and for Hull City, it's David Robinson, Matthew Jacob, Jordan Hickey, Billy Chadwick, Ryan Hansen, Andy Smith and Harry Wood. George Hurst getting back to his feet as Hull City, from a drop ball situation, will now bring the ball forwards. Samuelson into Hull City's half now, gets his head up, goes for the diagonal ball across towards James Berry. Good touch on the right foot over on this near touchline. Two men in blue shirts are waiting to try and tackle him as James Berry swings in a good-looking ball. It'll be turned behind as Samuelson went to get there. Clark turns it behind. Hull City with a corner and an opportunity to respond almost immediately. Yeah,
it was a great ball in, wasn't it, from James Berry on this right-hand side. Just feinted one way, come back onto his right foot and whipped it into that 6-yard box. It was pleasing to see that we had 4 bodies in the box, you know, trying to attack that, which we haven't had many times this evening. So we get the corner, so this is an opportunity to get back into it.
So opportunity knocking then for Hull City. James Berry, who swung in that cross, is headed over to the other side at the southeast corner to try and deliver. 6 to aim at in the box. Reaches Samuelson with a good flick. Now McLaughlin with the chance, and it'll be turned behind once again by Clark. Leicester had plenty of men inside the 6-yard box. It would have been real pinball if it had found its way through. Hull City with the good opportunity, but they're going to have to go a little bit closer. Corner to come once again then. Second time. Can they go a little bit closer, Hull City? Driven in this time towards the back post, and the header comes in from Callum Jones. It'll now meet Sheaf, who hits it back, a little bounce into the ground, and now it will be gathered by Ndukwu, who takes it out of the right-hand side of the penalty area, and he launches it down that right-hand side. Header by Dan Batty, Leicester City throw-in. Best chance of the second half for Hull City. Not really anything else has matched that chance apart from Keane Lewis-Potter in the first half.
Yeah, and it was interesting, wasn't it? You know, 2 consecutive corner kicks there, you know, causing problems for this inexperienced Leicester team. Could be a way to get back in the team. We need to keep probing, keep asking questions on set pieces.
Wedge Bar looking to try and hook it around him on the right-hand side, given away to Sheaf. Keane Lewis-Potter was getting forward on this right-hand side. Ball could have been played a little bit earlier to him. Instead, it goes back to Sheaf, who moves into the middle of the park now in Leicester City's half. Now a little low ball to Callum Jones. First time cross along the floor and turned behind by Leicester again. So another corner, and Hull City are responding to falling behind and asking questions. And they're getting those set-piece opportunities, which we feel will be the key to getting this equaliser.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an opportunity from set piece. You know, we've got great height in there. You know, right across the back 4, we're all going up. But good play there, build-up play. Callum Jones with a great ball into the box. 3 or 4 people trying to get on the end of things.
James Berry just kicks a bottle away as he lines up right-footed, drills it towards the back post again. Good commanding header and a good little run into the box by Jacob Greaves. Over the bar it goes, and it will be a goal kick. But Jacob Greaves, who's been quite solid at the other end of the pitch, almost had the opportunity to lay his mark in the attacking penalty area.
Yeah, it was a good ball again from Berry, just driving it in there. But it's interesting, you know, the 3 corners that we've had in quick succession there, we've had first contact in all 3 of them. Well, that's why I think it could be an opportunity from a corner kick that gets us back into this game.
So Leicester will take the goal kick right side of their penalty area. Away it goes, and searching for the head of George Hurst, but he's out-jumped in the air. Callum Jones shrugs off his man, plays it back towards McLaughlin, tries to send it down the line. Samuelson puts in a little standing tackle right over by the touchline. He's going to get a free kick as well, just inside Leicester's half. And just looking down at the benches, there doesn't look to be any movement so far. 10 minutes into the second half. Grant McCann and Cliff Byrne don't want to do anything tactically to change the system to maybe try and get more goals. Here's Samuelson, not the best of touches, tries to then poke it over to Keane Lewis-Potter, who's anchoring over on the left-hand side, and had to anchor his run. So he was caught offside a couple of times. Festus Arthur from big diagonal ball, big commanding header, drops out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line. Big booming commanding voice as the ball was played back in. Mentioned when we signed him that's one of his top traits, his communication levels, and had a little bit of a ropey situation in the last 10 minutes of the first half. Looks to have gathered himself together now as Leicester City give the ball away. Keane Lewis-Potter manages to pick it up on halfway. Now with Callum Jones. Little step over, turns backwards. Now searching for Berry from Max Sheaf. He now gathers, steps away to his right-hand side. James Berry pokes it through now for Dan Batty. Hull City piecing something together. Batty down the right. Looks to try and play it into the penalty area. It bounces back in and out of the penalty area on the right-hand side and will now be brought away by Tyrese Shade. Met by Keane Lewis Potter, so he plays it through the air. Jacob Grief shuffling across as McLaughlin had pushed on. He now gets possession and just passes the halfway line, right out by the touchline in front of the east stand. Now with Callum Jones, just facing his own defence. Gives it back towards Greaves. And Hull City now just slowing things down, looking for the right opportunity to pass. Greaves sets his sights on going in search of Berry with the big diagonal ball. Headed out of play by Flynn. It will be a throw-in. And Hull City with an opportunity to maybe build something from this set piece. As Festus Arthur jogs across with the ball in his hand. 2 to aim at close by are Callum Jones. Dan Batty's lurking as well. And James Berry right over on the touchline. Leicester with a back 4 and 5 midfielders at the moment floating around. Callum Jones into the middle, gathered by Samuelson. It was a rather ambitious flick to get it in front of him, and it almost paid off. Festus Arthur heads it back into the centre for Max Sheaf. He turns, gives it back towards Jacob Greaves. His touch lets him down slightly, has to backtrack, gives it towards McLaughlin. Little ball down the line for Keane Lewis Potter, who plays a clever dummy. Sheaf, with the momentum of the ball, is able to just step away from Hume, and now he heads backwards over by the touchline. Hasn't really got a lot of room to work with. He invites McLaughlin forward. He gets the cross in high and hanging over towards James Berry, who's unmarked at the back post, in towards Samuelson. 2 men in blue shirts manage to come out and defend. Here's Festus Arthur setting his sights on getting the ball into the middle. Low ball in, never troubling Leicester City. And now Tyrese Shade. McLaughlin stayed forward so he can keep ambling forward. Past halfway he goes now down the right-hand side. Shade now floats it over from one wing to another. Regbar manages to chest it. Left side of the penalty area. Looking to now step into it as Festus Arthur meets him and manages to win the ball back. Free kick will go Hull City's way. And from one transition to another at either end of the pitch. But the crossing is certainly improving for Hull City, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're probing, aren't we? You know, on both sides. It was good to see McLaughlin getting forward there on that left-hand side. A lot of our stuff second half has been down this right-hand side, so that was pleasing, you know. And then on the flip side of that, in the transition, you know, Leicester trying to come forward at us, you know, switch your play out to Regber on this left-hand side, and Festus Arthur doing a good defensive job there on him, you know, standing his ground, defending well.
And Duckworth looking to just play it back towards his teammate on the touchline. Simple pass into the middle for Callum Wright, the goal scorer, as Leicester lead by 1-0. Left side of the penalty area now. Flynn getting right forward, plays a low one into the box. McLaughlin with a simple side foot pass finds Batty, who now takes it out of the penalty area and plays it up towards Samuelson, who wanted that first time pass. Tried to find James Berry, it was just in front of him, and Grant McCann just turns away with a little bit of anger and a bit of a red face at the moment. Samuelson, as one of the first teamers who's getting a few minutes under his belt this evening, is not having the best of times, it would seem.
He's got to look after that better, doesn't he, Samuelson? There's no contact, there's no defender close to him. You know, it's just sloppy, really. You know, his first touch, just putting it out of play. He should be taking a touch and bringing it down. That's why Grant McCann's disappointed in it.
Flynn looking to head it into the middle for Callum Wright, who returns the ball back towards him. Dan Batty pressurising. James Berry now joining in on Flynn. They try and play it across the face of their defensive line. They were almost met by Keane Lewis Potter. Leicester get away with it. Here's Max Sheaf, picks it up, takes it back into Hull City's half, and Dan Batty now will play it on the right-hand side. Festus Arthur, 5 yards from the halfway line, tries to float it down the line. Sam Hughes watching it all the way. Simple little header, keeps it in play for Flynn, who's now got a little bit of time on his hands. Gives it back towards O'Connor inside the D. Gives it over towards Callum Hume, who now sends it across towards Mitch Clark, who's played well this evening. Ball into the middle for Regbar. Perfect touch from him. It invites in Duckworth to come forward. Greaves now has to backtrack. Big shot comes in. It's parried by Harvey Cartwright. Gets there at the second attempt. And Leicester City just about kept out by Harvey Cartwright. It wasn't the fashion he would have liked it to have been in. And the Leicester man over on the right-hand side of the penalty area who went in for the rebound, he was the one who almost made it 2-0. I think it's Regbar over on that far side. Physio's coming on, and a chance for a breather for both teams.
Yeah, it is. You know, it was a good effort, wasn't it, from Nzukwu? You know, getting it onto that left foot of his, striking it from fully 25 yards. Must have moved because, you know, it didn't look comfortable. Harvey Cartwright just flapped at it slightly. But Rejbar was on the move, gets it there first, and Harvey Conrad, which he has done on most occasions this evening, recovered to grasp it again on the second attempt.
Well, Rejbar just getting a little bit of treatment, bottle of water and a bit of spray. Smile on the face of Ross Joyce, who's let the game flow really well tonight, and it's been good to see because with it being two very youthful teams, they want to try and get the ball from end to end as quickly as possible. Harvey Cartwright with a bottle of water in his hands, bit of a glum expression on his face. He won't want to parry anything else. Both teams just getting a few words from their management and a little bit of a breather. Certainly in Hull City at this moment in time, it's almost as if they'd need something from the bench just to maybe stoke them up a little bit more, because obviously it's a lot of youth on the bench for Hull City this evening. Grant McCann just puts his arm around Martin Samuelson, and he's going to make way for Billy Chadwick, who is a bit shorter and a bit stockier, and he's going to be coming on for Martin Samuelson, who, without wishing to be too harsh on him, looks to have maybe let himself down a little bit, because I think he was the one who, in the front lines especially, was going to make the difference.
Yeah, I think Grant McCann's probably expecting a lot more from Martin Samuelson. He knows what he's capable of, you know. He's a talented player, but it just hasn't quite happened for him this evening. It was important for him to get minutes, you know, like all of these players, you know. They're all on the fringes of the first team. They're all getting used from the bench, some of them. And it's important that they get the minutes, because obviously the league action starts this weekend and we're going to need everyone available for the rest of the season, you know. So yeah, it was probably grandly pleased that Martin Samuelson's got the minutes in the bank, but in regards to his performance, he probably knows that he can offer a lot more than what he showed this evening.
So first substitution by Hull City, and Grant McCann hooking Martin Samuelson for young Billy Chadwick, who's got all the accolades from his academy. He's won all his badges and got all the accolades from the management and the supporters who've been to see him so far. And he comes on, plays right wing. Keane Lewis Potter's moved into the middle and Berry's moved out towards the left-hand side, and Callum Jones has pushed well forward. Now Sheaf moving into a more normal central midfield role alongside Dan Batty. Festus Arthur drags the ball inside, now plays it to Batty on the halfway line. Little ball down the right-hand side for Chadwick's first touch. Simple pass back towards Batty, who almost got the ball through well towards Callum Jones, who has always been pressurised by Callum Wright. He would have had to do a lot, and Leicester City get the throw-in. 25 minutes of normal time to go. Leicester are going to play their first hand from the bench, and they're going to bring on Terrell Pennant, number 57 this evening. The squad numbers are certainly high for both teams this evening. It's almost like watching an American football match this evening. Of course, 1 to 11 is first team numbers, and these are the ones that they would have if they got their opportunity in the team in the Premier League for Leicester City. Mitch Clark over on the right-hand side. Leicester have just slowed the play down a little bit. Now that they lead by 1-0, tactically a little bit of change. Gone for the big kick forwards down the middle. There's nobody running onto it, so this will trickle through to Harvey Cartwright, who just gobbles the ball up and dishes the ball out straight away towards Jacob Greaves. Little ball inside to Dan Batty. Had the opportunity to maybe hit it diagonally towards Festus Arthur. Instead goes to Alfie Jones. Of course, was on loan at Gillingham last year, and that's Hull City's first opponent on Saturday. Dan Batty will want to be involved in that game. Billy Chadwick floats it in. It's a delightful ball into Keane Lewis Potter, who is unmarked, and the smallest man on the pitch has come up with a header, and Hull City are level.
It's a fantastic goal from Hull City, and well worked as well down this right-hand side. We've been probing on this right-hand side quite a few times this second half, but what a substitution. Billy Chadwick's come on, you know, delightful cross, and great to see Keane Lewis Potter in that number 9 role, where he's best, where he can finish. We talked about him last season, you know, he can finish with his head, with his left foot, with his right foot. Tonight it's with his head, and it's a fantastic finish back across the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. 1-1.
Well, he's a young man, Keane Lewis Potter, but he is certainly playing at the moment with his heart on his sleeve, and a header like that is a great indicator that he knows he's got to take his chances when they come to him. And Hull City are level. It's 1-1 here at the K-Cup.
he's playing in a position where he wants to play. You know, he's a striker. He's come through the whole youth system as a main centre forward. You know, he's been playing when he's come off the bench on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side. He's never really had that opportunity as a striker, you know, because we've had that lone striker role with Eves or McGuinness. And he's never been trusted up there. But, you know, he's just showed exactly what he can do. You know, one cross into the box and he's on the end of it.
Keane Lewis Potter has his 4th Hull City goal, his first of the season, and we certainly hope it's the first of many. Is there a touch of Jared Bowen's debut season in Keane Lewis Potter's shooting boots? We certainly hope so. In the meantime, Leicester City have got a corner in the northeast end of the ground, and will Leicester City strike immediately? They have made one change. Pennant on for Shade as Leicester swing it in. It's a good-looking ball. Keane Lewis Potter getting back. I'm not sure if he was the man who turned it behind or it took a flick before it reached him. It will be a corner from the opposite side for Leicester City as we are at the halfway point of this second half. And just having got the equaliser, it's very important now for Hull City just to keep the concentration for a bit.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, the delivery all evening from Leicester City on set plays has been excellent. You know, they've put it into that danger area. They've defended quite well, apart from obviously the free kick where they got the goal.
Well, Ndukwu is the man who is going to deliver this one into the box. It's very heavily hit. One bounce outside the penalty area on the far side, runs all the way across for a throw-in. They'll want to forget that one in a hurry. The man who had a bit of League One experience, as mentioned already, at Southend United. Got 7 games under Sol Campbell, but couldn't keep Southend in a competitive nature in League One. They're now down in the basement. There's not many of Leicester City's players tonight who have had some form of Football League experience. As McLaughlin hooks the ball down the left-hand side, gathered by O'Connor. Here's the substitute for Leicester, Pennant. He works the ball into the middle, searching for Callum Hume. Clever through ball there, looking for George Hurst, but back well is Alfie Jones. And another man who hasn't had too much game time recently. It's come from loan spells, getting his opportunity tonight for the first time. Good sliding tackle, good benchmark for where he will want to play as this season progresses. It will be a corner kick for Leicester from the northeast side of the ground. And it comes a little bit lower this time. Callum Wright, the closest man. Wasn't going to get a competitive flick. The ball's back in again, and Alfie Jones sees it all the way. Heads it back out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area. In comes the cross again, and that's well headed away this time by Festus Arthur. Over the head of James Berry, tries to hook the ball away. Hull City a little bit deep, so they can't get possession. Leicester are going to have another crack at this with Regbar. Left side of the penalty area, tries to drag it into the middle, but he's got Callum Jones and Dan Batty close for company. Shane Flynn in support. Callum Jones with a good sliding tackle and another to get it away from Flynn. Good competitive bite from him. Max Sheaf thinking about the big ball forward. Callum Jones has just gone down and he's certainly feeling some discomfort. Ross Joyce having a look at it, blows the whistle, and the game will be stopped as Callum Jones put his body on the line there with 2 good slide tackles. And that's what Hull City need, a good bit of grit.
Yeah, it was excellent play from Callum Jones. He's really impressed me tonight. Both Joneses have, actually, Alfie Jones as well, but you know, Callum Jones especially, he's like we mentioned in the first half, he's covering a lot of ground in that midfield. It's good to see him at the moment, you know, since the change with Billy Taylor coming on, him pushing a little bit more advanced now as well, you know, with Max Sheaf dropping into midfield alongside Dan Batty. So it's I don't know what, I think he goes for a knock there in the face on the second challenge, but really good tenacity and desire to come out with the ball there.
So Callum Jones is just getting some treatment, and again it's another opportunity for notes and refreshment for both teams. Leicester are preparing their second change. Will Russ is going to make his way on. He's an attacking player, we are told, and whether or not it will be a like-for-like switch for George Hurst, we shall wait and see, or whether or not he may make his way over to the left-hand side of the wing. Callum Jones just getting a little bit of a dab on a cut just below his right eye. Just a little bit of gel on there as well. Thumbs up there. He's quite happy to carry on. And a couple of battle scars for Callum Jones, who will now just make his way over to the touchline. But yeah, like you say, Brian, he has been It's very, very impressive. And you look at some of the players who've come into this team and made their debut tonight, they have really shown they want to be part of this team in the league, not just in the EFL Trophy.
Yeah, totally, yeah, they'll all want opportunities this year. And to be honest, I think they're going to get opportunities this year, I think, looking at the way Callum Jones gone about his performance tonight with that grit and desire, that's the sort of attributes and behaviours that you want to see. The Hull City fans demand them sort of things, So yeah, I'm sure Callum Jones will definitely get some sort of game time this campaign in League One. Like you say, like a few of the others that are coming through playing tonight.
Shows there is a good pathway. Has been for the last few seasons, of course. Dan Batty is a prime example in the starting 11 tonight. He gets the captain's armband and he gets the ball now on his right foot. Back towards Jacob Greaves, who plays it forwards, looking for James Berry, looks to try and bring it into the middle. He then rescues the situation. The ball just got away from him slightly. Will Russ tried to get it off him, but a slide tackle comes in. And now Jacob Greaves plays the ball away. It's over the back of the defence for Billy Chadwick to chase, and it will be gobbled up by Leicester's goalkeeper over on the left-hand side. And Billy Chadwick has left his marker on this evening with his first dangerous opportunity, getting the cross in for Keane Lewis Potter. It is Hull City 1, Leicester 1 in the EFL Trophy with 17 minutes to go. Shane Flynn, big towering header from Festus Arthur, got right above Pennant, and it will be a free kick Hull City's way. Billy Chadwick scrapping down on this right-hand side, and a free kick where Hull City can swing the ball into the penalty area, similar position to where Leicester had theirs, which resulted in a goal. Can Hull City make this opportunity pay? Because we don't want penalties, we want 3 points.
Yeah, it'd be good to win the game, won't it? It'll give all these lads a boost and that confidence, going into the next outing in this group stage.
Jones with his arm up, swings the ball in. Not the greatest of deliveries, as Berry was waiting there too. Max Sheaf gets a touch, plays it back towards Jones. Just has to take a few steps back. James Berry keeps it in play, but then loses possession. Cleared away down the left-hand flank for Leicester. Dan Batty, the man back, gets one touch and then sends it careering forwards up the middle. Billy Chadwick just puts his body in way of Sam Hughes. Linesman didn't like it, flagged immediately for a free kick just to the right of the penalty area, about 10 yards away from it, maybe a little bit more. And Hull City are showing a little bit of aggression, which is what they need, certainly from the youthful prospects coming in. And there are a few of the first teamers here tonight watching this one. I saw Matt Ingram earlier just behind the technical area. They are here watching on. Of course, plenty of them being rested ahead of Saturday, the opener at the Priestfield Stadium. Gillingham versus Hull City, the first game back in League One for the first time, of course, in 15 seasons. Billy Chadwick looking to take it down the line. Went for the big touch around the defender in Shane Flynn, but the ball trickles out of play for a throw-in deep inside Leicester's half.
He's tried to be positive, hasn't he, since he's come on? Billy Chadwick on this right-hand side, Even then, I know it's run away from him on that occasion, but he's trying to face the full-back up, trying to go at him. And that's what you want to see, a bit of confidence.
Festus Arthur will gather on the halfway line, sends it into the middle for Jacob Greaves. The ball's in front of him, which will keep the momentum flowing. Greaves will now go on a foray down the left-hand channel. He tries to swing the ball in as well. It surpasses everybody, but Chadwick will pick it up on the opposite side of the penalty area. Sheaf tries to get it in. Not the best delivery, and it goes onto the roof of the net. Hull City appeal. They feel the keeper may have got a hand to it, but it just went over the top. I heard the grunt of anger from Max Sheaf from up here. He was disappointed with the way he got the ball in, but it still posed a threat.
Yeah, he will be disappointed because he's better than that. There's no one near him. He just had to feel it into that danger area. Very similar to Chadwick's position where he put it on Keane Lewis Potter's head. So that's why he's probably disappointed with his delivery there. But like you say, it teased the goalkeeper. He had him scrambling a little bit back onto his line, but it just landed on top of the net.
Ball on the left-hand side for Leicester. Pennant standing up now with Festus Arthur. Festus Arthur collides with him and just sends Pennant crashing to the floor. Free kick left side of the penalty area. And some players would try and take this on and arc it right into the left-hand corner from where we are. However, it looks more of a crossing opportunity. Everyone's back for Hull City. And Keane Lewis Potter and Billy Chadwick will build the wall. The two youthful players, one with more game time in the league than the other. Billy Chadwick has proved a point this evening, even though he's never really been in and around the team. 2 over this for Leicester City, and Dukwu is 1. Callum Hume has got his arm upraised, ready to swing it in on the right foot. There's 5 to aim at in the penalty area, 2 waiting on the edge. It will be Hume who swings it in. It's a good-looking delivery, and behind it goes. It's going to be a corner. Hull City appeal. Dan Batty not too happy with the decision. That's the kind of delivery you want to see from an attacker. However, Hull City could maybe have dealt with it better. It was a teasing ball, and it will be a corner for Leicester.
It was a great ball in, wasn't he? Callum Hume again, the sitting midfielder for Leicester. He's had a good game himself tonight. It's good defending. Sean McLaughlin at the back post. There was a player coming right round the back. Would have made contact with it if he didn't deal with it.
Hull City are about to make a second change. Jordan Hickey is going to be bringing himself on. In comes the corner meanwhile from the northeast corner, headed away by City. And it will be a free kick for the Tigers. Harvey Cartwright has not really had too much work to do in this second half, and he's certainly seen a lot less of the ball, so a slight difference in how Hull City have wanted to play. They've been more positive, gone in search of the midfield and attackers a lot more, as Dan Batty just mops up what could have been a little bit of a dangerous situation. He's plucked out a lovely ball into the right-hand corner for Billy Chadwick, who just lost his footing as he delivered it. A little bit of a comical cross into the box. It never was going to trouble anybody. It was unlucky, though, because Dan Batty picked him out beautifully.
Yeah, he did. It was a good run from Billy Chadwick, you know, stretching the play. You know, we made reference to Keane Lewis-Potter doing it in the first half. Chadwick's done it quite a bit in this second half since he's come on. You know, he got his cross all wrong. But, you know, his movement to get him into that position was very good.
Hull City are planning that substitution now. And the man who's going to make way is going to be Festus Arthur. Jordan Hickey will make his way on, and another player who gets the opportunity to don the black and amber for the first time. He slots in at right back. Like-for-like change. Pat on the back for Festus Arthur as he makes his way off. And 20-year-old Jordan Hickey, who has made his way through the under-18s and into the under-23s, now gets to don the top of the black and amber for the very first time. So 2 changes apiece. May see 1 more each. Be interesting to see how the coaches change things to try and find a winning goal. It's 1-1 at the moment with 10 minutes of normal time to play. Billy Chadwick down the line for Callum Jones. Low ball in. It could have reached Keane Lewis-Potter. There was a man in blue standing in the way. It was Dara O'Connor, and he needed to be there because Keane Lewis-Potter was positioned perfectly on the 6-yard line, ready to pounce.
Yeah, it was good play again down this right-hand side. Billy Chadwick, Callum Jones making the run from midfield beyond. You know, drilling the ball right across that 6-yard line. Lewis-Potter's waiting just to bury that. You know, it's good defending in the end from Leicester.
Ball played up into the air by Alfie Jones, and straight away Hull City try and win it back with Callum Jones, who would he be your man of the match this evening?
He's been very good. You know, Alfie Jones has grew into the game. I think the second half we've been the better team. You know, we're the ones being probing, we're the ones looking for the winner. But yeah, there's been some solid performances from the Hull City youngsters.
Sam Hughes trying to dance his way past Billy Chadwick. Callum Jones, right on cue, puts a tackle in. Ball will go out for a goal kick, despite some appeals on this near side. And the energy levels of both teams is showing up very nicely as well, because the attacking opportunities are still flowing, and from our position it's more opportunities to our right-hand side, which is good to see, as the sun has disappeared, but the KCOM has a gorgeous sky blue sky smattered with clouds over the KCOM Stadium this evening. We'll maybe here just for a little bit longer unless things change, because we are looking at penalties unless things change on the scoreline, and of course the points are a little bit strange as well, as Jacob Greaves gets the ball down at feet, very confident in getting the ball back to Harvey Cartwright, who swings his right foot here and clears it away into Leicester's half. Big commanding header by Sam Hughes. Now Callum Wright, he hooks it away down his left-hand side. Alfie Jones puts a stop to Leicester's attack and now calmly plays the ball into Max Sheaf. Threads it through towards Dan Batty on the right-hand side, who's gone searching for Keane Lewis-Potter. Good header into the path of James Berry. Will the ball sit well for him? The answer is no, and it's going to be brought back anyway. I think it's a free kick maybe for a handball as James Berry got the control a little bit muddled up there. He had a lot of pressure on him. But again, the direct play there is causing Leicester one or two problems.
Yeah, it was good play, good movement as well. You know, Keane Lewis-Potter peeling diagonally wide and James Berry coming in off that left-hand side to try and join in with him. You know, a good ball as well from Dan Batty to start the attack.
Leicester's goalkeeper clears it away. Towards the left-hand side, Alfie Jones. Bit of a shove that time on George Hurst, who's had two good chances this evening, one right at the start of the second half as well, where he flirted a header just wide of the post. And a little word by Ross Joyce from George Hurst and Alfie Jones, clasped with the hands from the pair of them. A little word for Alfie Jones, who doesn't look too unhappy as he now trudges into position. Hull City with bodies in and around the D. Leicester City have put 4 in the penalty area and 3 waiting on the edge. Ball is out towards this left-hand side. Good opportunity to swing it in on the left foot this time, and Duckworth does just that. It's angled towards the right-hand post, carries too much weight, and it will drop out of play without even making a bounce in field. And that's a wasted opportunity for Leicester, who just begin to look a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, like I said before, I think we've been a better team this second half. They've hopped and puffed a bit the second half, Leicester. I thought they had the better of it that first half. You know, we were a bit slow out of the traps. But second half, the majority have been us probing. You know, our energy levels has definitely improved as well.
And Duckworth picks it up from Callum Jones. Max Sheaf does very well. He's able to win back possession, and then a little nibble at his left leg brings a free kick Hull City's way. The midfield, for me, as the game has developed, have grown and grown into this game and taken a little bit more authority over Leicester City. Quick free kick taken. Jacob Greaves trundles up towards the halfway line into Keane Lewis-Potter, facing his own goal. Plays it back towards Greaves, who just takes a couple of touches, plays it into McLaughlin. Hasn't seen too much of the ball on the left-hand side, but he's probed and tried to get forward well. Dan Batty tries to get the tackle in, but it's a little bit wrong from him. Will Russ, he will try and bring the ball forwards, and a free kick goes Leicester's way, right in the middle of the pitch in Hull City's half.
It's an harsh one, isn't it? You know, substitute Jordan Hickey coming on, getting nice and tight to Hurst. He wins the ball for me. Hurst just gets caught up between his feet, though, looking for options. Takes too long on the ball, and Hickey goes in with the challenge and wins it cleanly for me, but the referee gives the free kick.
Slightly awkward one there from this position. It's too far out for a shot at goal. Will he pick at the left-hand side of the penalty area or the right-hand side? 2 men in the wall for Hull City who break towards the left. Little short one to Duckworth, who now cuts back in onto his right foot. Max Sheaf headers away the attempted cross into the box, and then it'll be calmly headed back by Hickey into the path of Cartwright, who wants to set Hull City off at a fast tempo, and he's gone looking for Keane Lewis-Potter. His touch was in front of him, and it just carried a little bit too much. Offside flag is up over on the far side as we've got 5 minutes of normal time to go. Again, Hull City take the free kick quickly. Over onto the right-hand side, Jordan Hickey plays it back towards Alfie Jones. Greaves is the only man in company. Leicester applying a 3-man press again. Ball goes back towards Harvey Cartwright. Cartwright with a little ball into the path of Alfie Jones, who now heads towards his own corner flag, gets a shove there from George Hurst, and that is a free kick. But that's what Hull City tried to do in the first half, play the way out of the back, and it's been their Achilles heel, really, and just for whatever reason, they seem to have resorted back to it there.
Yeah, it's probably from the inexperience of Harvey Cartwright. You know, he puts Alfie Jones in a sticky spot there, doesn't he, in that corner. But it's good play from Alfie Jones because he knows he can't turn out to get out of trouble, so he's just shielding the ball, inviting the push from Hurst, and he gets the free kick in the end.
Harvey Cartwright clears it away. Right on halfway. Good header from Callum Hume. Dan Batty wants to get there, and Duckworth just hacks it through as he wanted to keep possession for Leicester. In the end, it runs through to Cartwright, dishes it out towards Alfie Jones. Takes a touch on the ball, calmly waited for Hume to come and pressurise him. And Hull City just passing the ball around now in their own defensive areas. Right side with Hickey, now towards Alfie Jones. Plays it to Batty, who'll give it back towards Cartwright. Hull City just having a spell of possession. Thing is, though, Hull City have looked more comfortable with the ball at the other end as Cartwright dances about on the ball on the edge of the penalty area. Almost got caught cold, and it would have been an embarrassing goal to concede so late in the game for Cartwright. Hull City get the throw in, and that inexperience is just seeping through again. And you know, they've had opportunities and they've seen what works, but they're resorting back to things which nearly were their downfall in the first half.
Yeah, it just shows, doesn't it, from the goalkeeper, Harvey Cartwright. It's what they're taught at that level.
Callum Jones, beautiful floated ball over to Keane Lewis Potter. The flag is up, and if it had stayed down, Keane Lewis Potter had the opportunity to return the favour to Billy Chadwick, who was steaming in on the right-hand side. All it would have required is a little low ball across, and Chadwick would have had all the goal to aim at from about 8 yards. The flag up, though. Keane Lewis Potter's been caught offside 3 times this evening, and on all 3 occasions it's been from a perfectly weighted pass. He's just overstepped the mark again.
And that might come from inexperience himself. You know, he's not been playing as a striker very often, you know, over the times I've seen him. And, you know, he's been out on the left, he's been out on the right. You know, when you're a striker like that, you can't just switch it on and off. It's got to be there all the time. And the more he plays as a 9 or a 10 or in a partnership, I think that'll be where he'll be at his best. He'll get them stamina runs perfect.
He gets it now, right side of the penalty area. Returns the ball to Callum Jones, who can play it across. It just needs a man in black and amber to hit the ball home. And it went into an area where it was just a cluster of Leicester City players as Hull City pieced something together from the right-hand side into Lewis Potter, into Jones, and it was good, snappy football. Hull City have another chance on the left-hand side this time, in front of the East Stand. Pennant standing up Sheaf. In comes the cross. It will be met by Berry. Helps it on towards the centre. Sam Hughes heads it up into the air. Didn't carry much distance. Keane Lewis Potter waiting for the ball to drop. Wins the header into the path of Callum Jones. Bit of pinball on the edge of the penalty area. And now Leicester get it free. And Duckworth takes it over the head of Dan Batty. Now with George Hurst. Bit of a tired touch from him. Alfie Jones. Now into the path of Max Sheaf, who just enters the centre circle and steps out of it again. Ball down the right-hand side for Chadwick. Gets away from his marker, Flynn. He now has to stand him up as Billy Chadwick just brings proceedings to a halt. Max Sheaf tries to swing it in first time. It was a delicate cross. It was just met by a Leicester City man on the near side from where we are, and a free kick given away for a shove by Sheaf. And Leicester City live to fight another day, because that was better work again from Hull City, and they're plugging away to the end.
Yeah, we are. We're by far the superior team at the moment. You know, we're the ones who will probe and looking to try and get this winning goal. It was great play, wasn't it, from Callum Jones again, getting beyond, putting the ball right, trying to look for James Berry, but it just took a nick off one of the Leicester defenders and just altered the attack. But it's good play from us. The second half's been excellent.
Leicester City wasteful from their own free kick. Ball going out for a throw-in, which Jordan Hickey takes, and he sends the ball up towards the centre of the park. Callum Jones helped on its way, though, by Callum Wright. Hickey with the header on this left-hand side. There's going to be 4 minutes of injury time here to conclude this EFL Trophy match, and Hull City could be going to penalties on their return, very similar to their last fixture in this competition back in 2004 when they lost after a 3-3 draw at Hartlepool. Big diagonal switch from Leicester, and in the end the ball bounces over the head of Clark over on that far side after Sam Hughes went to find him. Hull City will be very grateful that that's gone out of play, and they've got 3.5 minutes to continue to press forward, and they're finishing the game in the same way that the first teamers did against Sunderland in the Carabao Cup, creating chances towards the end. Neither keeper has had to make substantial saves this evening. Keane Lewis Potter has tested the Leicester City goalkeeper in the first half, and he couldn't get anywhere near the equaliser. Leicester City give the ball away. Throwing on this right-hand side. Could that cost them dearly? As Jordan Hickey comes forward to take it. Hull City with a throw-in. And a very good opportunity to get it inside the penalty area. They're about just a few yards away from getting it in there. Hickey throws it into Chadwick, returns the ball now. Chadwick heads towards the penalty area, now plays the ball back to Sheaf. about 35 yards out from goal. Played across towards Greaves. Hull City taking their time, trying to keep it in space. Over with McLaughlin, who is dispossessed, but it will go out of play for a throw-in. Touchline over on the far side came just in time for him before Leicester could motor in the other direction. A little bit disappointing, as Hull City could maybe have got a cross in and just thrown it into the mixing pot and seen what could have materialised from it. Minute and a half into this stoppage time. Ball back with Greaves. Plays it into Alfie Jones. Will Russ coming to pressurise. Ball back with Dan Batty, who's always slotted back and has kept calm and controlled, as the captain should do. Tries to play the ball into the path of Keane Lewis Potter. Deflection takes it away from him. Alfie Jones wins the header as Leicester try and play it forward through the air. Dan Batty helps it on its way as it works its way to the right-hand side. Dan Batty gets a toe to it again. Jordan Hickey gives it back towards Batty. Big touch from him. Now launches it up the middle, searching for James Berry. Header by O'Connor. Callum Jones will try and get it down. It was an awkward touch for him. And Duckworth on this left-hand side sends the ball down the line for Will Russ, who's got to watch it all the way. He now gets the ball on his right foot. Stood up by Alfie Jones. Now Pennant. The two substitutes combine. It's Pennant with the shot. And it goes just to the left of Harvey Cartwright's goal, who would have got there anyway because he'd managed to cover his post well. And the substitute almost had one of the final saves for Leicester. And it could be the final chance they have.
Yeah, he looked sharp, didn't he, there, Pennant? Coming in off that right-hand side to support Will Russ. It was a good touch, getting out of his feet. Like I say, very sharp to get the strike away. It was always going past the post of Harvey Cartwright's goal.
Cartwright with a big kick. Didn't carry much height, and it's going to be a free kick for the jump inside Leicester City's half, and they want to get on with things quickly. Keane Lewis Potter isn't going to let Callum Hume though. He's going to stand in close quarters. We are into the final minute of the stoppage time here in the EFL Trophy. Hull City 1, Leicester's under-21s 1 at the moment. Callum Wright opened the scoring. Keane Lewis Potter with the equaliser. Free kick taken towards the right side of the penalty area. Sam Hughes got forward. Chance maybe for Leicester City as they try and get it down. They appeal for a penalty. And I think Leicester City have got the penalty right at the end of the game. And just looking to see who it was who went down. It was Will Russ who went down. And that is a pretty harsh decision in my book. Hull City with 4 players surround the man. Batty, McLaughlin, Jones and the other Callum Jones as well. And Leicester have a penalty to win it before the potential shootout.
Yeah, it's such a shame, isn't it? You know, it was a long pump forward. Sam Hughes goes forward, the captain wins that first contact, guides the ball into that danger area by the penalty spot. And it's Will Russ, it's bouncing around. He just gets a touch on it over, I think it's Alfie Jones's head, but there's 2 players around him and there's no malicious, nothing malicious about it. They just made contact with each other just as he got to that first touch. He goes over and gives a penalty.
George Hurst then will hit this right-footed to give Leicester City the victory. Can Harvey Cartwright keep him out? He almost did. George Hurst slots it into the bottom right-hand corner. Fought for a minute. Cartwright was going to get there. And George Hurst, who's missed a couple of chances, has just taken the most precious one for Leicester. It's going to give them the victory with a stoppage time penalty. Hull 1, Leicester 2.
Yeah, probably undeserved as well, you know, like I say, second half we've been by far the better team. You know, it was a good penalty from Hurst, a little bit close to Cartwright. I think he'll be disappointed he didn't get a hand to it, but like you say, last 30 seconds or so of the game, a bit of a not really a nice penalty to give away. You know, it could have been avoided. And I feel for the players.
I think you had the word cheap on your lips then. I would agree that it was a very cheap penalty. Ross Joyce, though, giving the penalty right at the end. And everyone now stands on the line ready to charge this one because we're into the 96th minute. I don't know if Hull City are going to get one chance to come forward. Dan Batty sends it careering forwards. It's a free header for Sam Hughes. Now headed down by Callum Jones. Header away, that's offside. And Ross Joyce blows for full time, and Leicester City have come away with victory in this EFL Trophy match. Grant McCann and Cliff Burns shake hands with the management of Leicester. This feels quite unjust, really, on Hull City. They've pressed and probed and plugged away, created chances, and in the end it's a penalty before the potential shootout from George Hurst, the most experienced forward in Leicester's team, and Leicester City have come away with victory.
Yeah, and it's a bit of injustice, really, isn't it? Because the game was all panned out to go to penalties, and it would have been just deserved. Because Leicester had the better of the first half, we've had by far the better of the second half, and to see it won like that in them circumstances, he wasn't 100% sure, the referee. He hesitated for a few seconds, but he's given the penalty in the end, and Leicester go away with the victory.
Dan Batty shakes his head as he heads towards the tunnel. And it's been a brave endeavour from Hull City this evening. Got themselves level through Keane Lewis Potter. But George Hurst, who has converted the penalty in the 95th minute to give Leicester City the 3 points here. And Grant McCann heads over towards the referees, not happy at all with the decision. I'm sure he'll have strong words in the post-match as well. Shakes his head, not happy, and he will be disgusted at the decision, but also he will have to sympathise with the players in the dressing room now, because Hull City have been beaten. They should have got something from this match. Final score then here at the KCOM Stadium is Hull City 1, Leicester's under-21s 2.